I have 100 lives to climb this mountain, and every strawberry I collect grants me 5 extra lives. This is a Celeste Peak challenge. I wanted to make this playthrough as safe as possible, so my plan for chapter 1 was to get as many strawberries as I can. Because this chapter doesn't have any real gimmicks and the platforming is simple enough, at least in comparison to the other chapters, this was a reasonable goal. So I set off collecting as many strawberries as I could find. Some cost a few lives, like this one, but overall it was worth it. I came out with 14 strawberries and 16 deaths, which brings my life total to 154. I was feeling good about myself going into this, but because the next chapter, chapter 3, was one of the ones I was worried about, I also wanted to correct something about my playstyle. What I'm going to do during this gameplay is kind of slow down a little bit. And really take in all of what I have to do first and then do it. Adopting this new mindset would take a little practice, but luckily chapter 2 was pretty much the perfect testing ground for this. See, tiny spoilers here, but the other me, or my evil self, chases me down to try and catch me and stop me from climbing further. Once she starts chasing me, I have a little to no time to react, but she only activates when I start moving, meaning I can look and scope out at least some of the levels or routes beforehand. I started to implement this every time I died, and it turns out it helped immensely. I got a handful of strawberries along the way and only died 10 times, which brings my life total to 194, just shy of that 200 mark. This is where things get interesting. Because I was just shy of that 200 mark, I was a little nervous going into this. Chapter 3 doesn't have any real gimmicks, but the difficulty spike is pretty intense, especially when you have rooms like this or this. My plan here was to get as many easy strawberries as I could and just pray that I don't die a lot. And then this level shows up. This was the first time I got it without dying over 10 times. This spiked my morale just in time too, because the next roadblock appeared shortly after. It looks deceptively easy. All you have to do is jump on these platforms and avoid the muck, but the timing of your jumps has to be very precise. I had just beaten the room that cost me my first run of this challenge. It's safe to say I was pretty ecstatic. The only thing left to do now was go through a few more rooms and beat the boss. And just like that, the boss came. Mr. Oshoro came at me with everything he had, and all the while I had to try and avoid different obstacles in my path. Thinking back to chapter 2, I thought this would be a good opportunity to slow down and calculate the levels, which Mr. Oshoro was doing the complete opposite. In the end, because of my calm state of mind, I navigated around him easily and ended up completing the chapter. I got a total of 8 strawberries and 42 deaths, which puts me at a life total of 192. To start this chapter off on a good note, I got 2 strawberries here and here, which brings my life total to over 200. This chapter's main gimmick is wind, which depending on which way you face will make you go slower or faster. It also has clouds, blocks, and bubbles. I explore more of this chapter than I have ever done previously and found that all the strawberries were not that bad to get, which meant I went for almost every one I could find. I was cruising through this chapter, only dying a few times. However, there was a level that I feared. This monster. Luckily, this was one of the last levels of chapter 4, and I ended up getting 14 strawberries with 44 deaths, which brings my life total to 218. As soon as I begin this chapter, I make up a rule. So I'm going to put a new rule in for myself that I only try to get a strawberry up to 5 times, because then even if I do get the strawberry, it's not worth it. This is put in place because the first part of this chapter has a ton of strawberries seemingly available, and I didn't want to lose too many lives here. Then, almost as if to mock me, this room shows up. I'll spare you the details. I die like 10 times here, and I don't know why. I guess I'm just bad. Moving on. The second part of the chapter gets dark. I go for very few strawberries here and then come across this one. How would you even do this one? Let me know, because obviously it has to be possible, and maybe I'm just looking at it wrong or something, but I don't know if this is possible. Anyways, I journey through the darkness, looking at creepy statues and relics, and then I get sucked into a mirror. I meet my other self and she sends monsters after me. These levels vary in difficulty, generally getting harder the further in I go. Eventually I reach Theo and have to carry him while these things are coming after me. Let's do this. With Theo cheering me on, I keep pushing and eventually beat Chapter 5. A total of 6 strawberries and 60 deaths, putting me at 188 lives. This is my favorite chapter in the game, but for this challenge, it is the bane to my existence. Why? Because there are absolutely no strawberries. Yep, nada. Nope. Nay. So I have to be extremely careful. Every single death I take cannot be recovered here. I should explain the gimmicks. First, we have these ball things. They make you bounce in any direction you hit them in. Then we have these blocks. With a similar idea, whenever you hit them, they will charge in that direction. Finally, we have the feather, which turns you into a ball of light so you can fly through the air. This chapter isn't too bad, honestly, but it does progressively get harder. And then I met her, the one that gave me trouble this entire time. My other self. The fight starts, both of us knowing this will be our last battle. At first, the fight starts off simple. She shoots balls of energy at me and I dodge them to get to her. But as the fight continues, she alongside the environment gets more aggressive. This is more than just a boss fight. This is a fight of ideals, emotion, power, and control. This whole time, the other me was there. In Chapter 2, she chased me down, telling me I couldn't climb the mountain. In Chapter 3, she corrupted Mr. Oshoro and had him try to stop me. In Chapter 4, she tries to corrupt my mind, telling me I will never be good enough to reach the peak. In Chapter 5, she captures Theo and sends monsters to stop me. And in Chapter 6, when I wished her away, I realized that I needed her, that I loved her, because she was me. She was the fear and the doubt that was residing in me. But that doesn't mean I just cast her away. No, it means I need to nurture her and prove to myself that I can do this, that I can climb this mountain, that I can beat this challenge. And then I beat the chapter. I had a total of 74 deaths. With no strawberries, that brings my life total to 114. On to the last chapter. I had a few deaths in the very beginning, which brought me down to 109. Then the first real challenge of Chapter 7 came. I have to jump, dash to this first diamond, then dash to the second diamond, and then dash to the wall. I died again and again, slowly losing hope until I got through it with 97 lives intact. I somehow got this strawberry and then cleared the area. Since there are around 100 rooms or so in this chapter, I'll just go over the notable ones. This one in Area 2 was hard. Activating all the switches to open this door proved to be more of a challenge than I thought. I died several times here in Area 4 and here in the final level of Area 4, mainly because of these things. Here in Area 5 because of the strong winds and the final level of Area 5. Finally, the final level in Area 6. We have reached the final part of the game. 30 signs to the top. 29, 28, 27. By now, the final chapter's gimmick shows gravity, making it harder to move and jump at all times. 26, death. I didn't let it stop me. 25, 24, another death. The levels were getting harder, but I didn't care. I was getting so close. 23, 22, 21, death. 20, death. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, death. At sign 14, I had 16 lives left, and with no strawberries in sight, I needed a miracle. I died 3 times. Sign 13. 13 lives. And then I come across another roadblock in Chapter 7. I need to hit this spring, dash to the right twice to hit this other spring, then grab onto the wall, get all 3 switches, and then dash up to safety. By the time I beat the level, I had 7 lives left at sign 12. 6 lives. 5 lives. Sign 11. 4 lives. 3 lives. 2, 1, 0. I was so close. If only I had several more lives, I would have completed this challenge. I died around 20 more times. If I had been more careful or maybe searched for more strawberries, I might have actually done it. But we'll never know. Until next time, guys, see you later.